Hello and a very good evening to everyone. My name is Adri Dhanandini and I'm an inspirer at Pick a Book. And I will also be the moderator of today's session. So, first and foremost, I would like to welcome each and every one of you to another exciting session of the Author Saga series conducted by Pick a Book. We are now live on Facebook and we have many individuals joining in, and I would like to say welcome to each and every one of those. First and foremost, before we get into the main event, I would like to give a quick introduction to what Pick a Book is. Pick a Book is a global movement that encourages and inculcates the habit of reading within the community. Through this, by Pick a Book helps and encourages its members to read a book, research on it thoroughly, and present to an audience. By doing so, each and every member is encouraged and gets a chance to improve their communication skills, public speaking skills, and presentation skills as well. Furthermore, I am proud to say that Pick a Book is now in four countries, namely Sri Lanka, India, Singapore, and UK. And furthermore, it is a homegrown concept that has gone global. So, today's segment, introducing everyone to today's segment, we are here with another wonderful session of the Author Saga series. The Author Saga series is conducted to introduce new authors to the society where they can discuss their key insights on the books that they have written. Furthermore, we hope to help them to reach to a wider audience and also help the upcoming authors as well. So, today we have a wonderful guest and an author joining with us today. Her name is Duli Paranovitan. She is the author of several books. Dulee's first book, My Musings, was published in 2019 and is available on Amazon, while paperback copies are available in stores in Sri Lanka. Dulee has gone to write and publish several works via the Amazon Kindle direct publishing platform. Some of her works include Rippers, Echoes, Jungle Johns, and Laugh Out Lyrics. Jungle Johns, Jack Rivers, and The Isle of the Immortals, Midwood Magic are all works of fiction. My Musings, Rippers, Echoes, and Laugh Out Lyrics are all works of poetry. Duli, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you for this author saga session on behalf of the entire Pick a Book team.
Hi.
Hi, Duli. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well too. Thank you for taking your time to join with us today. So, I'm sure. Okay, I'm sure the audience is curious. So, before we get into the works that you have done, could you tell me and the audience a little bit about yourself?
I'm Duli Paranavithana. I am a psychology graduate. So I studied at ACHE and then I went on to do my degree at Excelsior, US. After that, meanwhile, I was writing all the time. So while I was doing the degree, I started writing My Musings in 2019. It was a book of poetry. I wrote that. And when I got published, I didn't stop writing. I wrote Ripples and Echoes, Jungle Johns. Ripples and Echoes was a book of poetry, and Jungle Johns was a book of fiction that was based on my grandfather's past experiences. And then I wrote Midwood and Jack Rivers, and now I'm writing The Wonderful Wood, which is like a book of fiction. So, and currently I'm working as a digital marketer at Saks Global.
Fantastic. So, Duli, before we get into the questions, I have a quick question. So, when did the journey of writing start? I mean, how did you get into this entire journey of writing poetry or fiction? How did it start for you?
It started, well, mostly I love to read a lot. So I read Enid Blyton a lot when I was small. I really liked the adventure stories. And then I went on to Roald Dahl and then Harry Potter. And I was really intrigued by the fact that authors can take readers to a whole new world with just their words, like to create new worlds and like to help people understand the world better and to help them have new experiences. So I was writing a bit, like I was writing a bit when I was during my O levels and before that also. But I got serious after my O levels, and during A levels I was doing science, but like I didn't like science that much. So I went on to explore my writing interest, and I wrote, and that's how I got into writing. Yeah.
Fascinating. I love the part where you brought out Enid Blyton and Roald Dahl, Harry Potter. I agree with what you said. It's wonderful how authors can just, with a couple of words, take all our imagination and transport us to a different world. And it's wonderful that you have carried out the same passion as well. So,
Thank you.
the first question to you, Duli, why do you write?
I write because I love writing. It's like my passion. So I like expressing myself using my words. And it's like a therapeutic way for me to get rid of stress. Like it's like a stress reliever. So when I'm stressed, I write. When I'm sad, I write. When I'm happy, I write. That's how I kind of get when like some people like call people and tell, hey, this happened to me, this that happened, and that's how they get rid of their baggage, right? So like for me, I don't do that. I usually take a book or like take some piece of paper and start writing. So that's the main reason why I write. And like the other reason is I really want to, like, this is one of my dreams. So like it's kind of I don't normally tell this, but I'll tell it. Like I want to start a charity someday. So like I want to build up, like, kind of gather finances and kind of establish myself so that I can help orphans. So that's one of my big aims. That's one of the main reasons that I write. So that I have like something that drives me other than my passion as well.
Wonderful, Dili. So I really like the part you talked about stress management. I mean, I when I'm stressed, I would talk to someone, and now I'm thinking this probably a much more effective stress management technique, and you come up with a wonderful publication.
Yes, that's true. So you have something to show as well. Like if you talk to a friend,
Exactly.
it's gone, it's over from there. So yeah.
Exactly. So now you have written close to about 10 books. I read out the titles you have, from poetry to fiction to all. So can you tell a little bit about these books that you have written and maybe a little bit about each of them?
Yes, sure. So my musings is like it's basically my experiences and observations. So it was like during college I like observed things like friendship and like family and like uh, happiness and funny things. Like I got into limericks as well because there was this competition going on for Edward Lear, like poetry competition limericks. So I got into that funny poetry as well. So all of that was in my musings. And then after the Jungle Johns was my grandfather's past. Like he told me stories about his past. So he worked in the jungle when he was a surveyor. So I wrote those stories because he is like a very influential figure in my life. So I wrote those stories. And Ripples and Echoes again was based on my experiences, and it's mostly like it's not like children can read it. There's nothing like explicit or like nothing like that, but it's more towards the adult audience because it deals with love, loss, grief, that kind of thing. But anyone can read it. There's nothing like uh, other child can't read. So like I mainly focus on children. So Midwood Magic is about like it's about a child who discovers that he's an elf and his father is missing, so he wants to solve that mystery as well. So that got picked up by a Brazilian publisher who, it's like a hybrid contract. So they are putting and I'm putting in part. So like it's I'm going to get published through them. And like for Jack Rivers, I'm still looking for a publisher. So Jack Rivers is a story about a child who goes into a place where immortals are threatened by mortals. Like it's called the Isle of the Immortals. So like immortals are like threatened by mortals who are like witches. Immortals are like kind of godish figures, but immortals are witches and wizards who have like kind of digressed from the usual path and who have been made mortals as punishment. So like they're angry and they want to get back at the immortals for making them less superior than them, for punishing them. So that's the story. And the Wonder Piece, that's not published yet. I'm writing it. It's on Wattpad. So that story is about a boy called Ethan. He is like a normal kid who uh, he discovers a notebook. Actually, he buys it for his mom, and it's a magical notebook. So through that, there's a dragon that's unleashed on the world. So the dragon is kind of messing up the world while he goes back to the shop and he meets a lady who takes him to another world called Celestia, while our world is called Terrestia. That's called Celestia. So like he's taken there, and they must find a way to destroy the book so that the magic that unleashed the dragon will be destroyed, and the dragon will be destroyed along with it. So that's the main idea of the story. So those are some of the things that I've read.
Great, Duli. Can I ask a question? Where does the inspiration for these, especially the fiction ones, come from? I mean, you talked about immortals to mortals to dragons to different worlds. So, where does the inspiration for these come from?
Well, mostly I kind of research about magic systems, and I watch documentaries about magic, and I read a lot. Like I like Google what are the most popular books for children, what do children like to read. I research about all of that, and I read a lot, so that helps me a lot. And I research about magical objects and connect them with people. Like psychology helps as well, like a bit, not that much. So I'm researching and I'm putting in my imagination as well. So like things come to me when I'm like not very super focused. Like for instance, when I go to before I go to bed, things come to my head. Like I quickly jot them down on like the phone or notebook, and then like the following day I develop on it. I like write and kind of flesh the idea out. So it's I've heard that it's not the same for everyone, but like a lot of mythology and folk tales, like if you read them, you get like a good like it's like it feeds your imagination. So classics like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, and any mythology actually, and folk tales, fairy tales, like they are available freely online. So I think anyone who reads them will like get kind of characters, and you'll see like patterns, like plot types and archetypes. You'll see like common elements, and then you put your own spin on it. So like you put in your experiences and your what you imagine as well, and then mash it up a bit, and yeah, it's like cooking something actually.
Wonderful. Sounds like a quite an interesting journey. So, tell me, Duli, what do you enjoy writing the most and why? Like poetry, fiction, what do you enjoy the most?
I'd say fiction because, like, I mean, I like poetry a lot, but like fiction, it's fun. I mean, more fun, I guess. Like, poetry is fun too, but it's fiction is a lot of work compared to poetry, because poetry is more like pouring your heart and soul out into the page. You don't like look for inspiration, and you don't like do any background work. It just comes, like when you take one word and just like you think about it and then start writing about it. Like it's nothing research. I don't know, I don't research when I'm writing poetry, but fiction I do research. So like I mean, not much, but like about magic and how it works, and like about people's beliefs and superstition and that kind of thing, rituals and taboos, those kind of things. Like it has some, like it's difficult, so like it's more challenging for me, so I like it more.
Yes, indeed, it must be. I mean, to write a fiction book, you develop characters, the environments that they live in, all that,
Yes.
and you get to pour your imagination out in wonderful ways and come up with a book. Sounds like you have an awesome journey ahead.
Thank you so much.
So, now you're a writer, so I'm assuming you must be a reader as well. So,
Yes.
tell me, do you read a lot, and what's your favorite genre?
I read a lot. I mean, I read at least a book per week. I know there are people who read more, but like I try to read one book per week. So my favorite genre is fantasy. So I love fantasy. Yeah. So fantasy, like my favorite book is Harry Potter. I know it sounds like everyone's favorite book, right? But like yeah,
Yeah,
and I
my
oh, nice. And like J.K. Rowling is really inspiring, isn't she? Like she came from such poor background, such a poor background, and it goes to show. And I just like the fun thing. I just googled J.K. Rowling's net worth, and I found out that it's 1/80th of the Sri Lankan economy apparently. So if we have one J.K. Rowling in Sri Lanka, that would like poof. We don't need gems and jewels. We need one J.K. Rowling.
I know. So,
So
and all of this comes out of J.K. Rowling's imagination. The book
yes,
that she has wrote, which is worth so much, as you said. So, all
yes,
out of her imagination.
yes,
So, I'm
and
sure. Sorry, Dili, go
yes.
ahead.
No, no, no. You go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Okay. No, so I wanted now you talked about J.K. Rowling. Your favorite
Yes,
book is Harry Potter. So
yes,
I wanted to move on to your journey as an author. So, I wanted to ask, as per advice and as per recommendation to other upcoming authors, what books would you recommend to anyone who wants to be a writer?
Well, one book I'd say is On Writing by Stephen King. Like, that's a good book to start off with. And then I'd say read Roald Dahl. Like, it's pretty accessible and fun too. And there are small books as well. So, like, the Magic Finger, the Twits. Those are like, you don't feel, you feel like reading them. They're not like heavy reading. So I'd go for that. And there was this nice book, The Ballet Shoes by I can't remember the author. J.K. Rowling recommended it as well. That's a nice book as well. And Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. Like, that's also a writing book. It's about writing. It's also fiction and non-fiction. And what else can I recommend? Oh, Hobbit. Read Hobbit as well. Like, it's really nice. I think it'll be really helpful because like you get to, like, J.K. Rowling's books are mainly about, like, I mean, it's like a different writing style from The Hobbit. So like I think Roald Dahl and J.K. Rowling, I think they are a bit similar. So and yeah, of course Harry Potter as well. Read it if you can. Like, it's worth it. Yeah.
It
The-
indeed is. So,
yeah.
Duli, I wanted to ask now, when you write a book, what is the hardest part of it? Like, is it hard to come up with a story, come up with characters, or explain situations, or is it hard to carry out the story? Do you get stuck, or what is the hardest part in writing and completing a novel, or a fiction, or a book of poetry? What do you find challenging about it?
I think, like, keep the fact that the middle part is the most challenging. Like, to keep going is the most challenging because in the middle, like, I mean, before the middle, especially like the middle part, you cannot get stuck because you might have a good beginning. Beginning is the easiest usually. So like you have all that kind of ideas, all, and like everything is like you feel like you have a lot of energy, and then when you start writing you kind of get bored of it sometimes. Like, when the in the middle part, normally the action is happening, but like the beginning and the end is like the most easiest to write. The middle part you get a bit stuck. So I'd say, like, every day, like, put a goal, and like how, like, I'm going to write, in the beginning you can be like, I'm going to write 200 words or 500 words, and then like have a habit of writing so that then you won't feel overwhelmed. Like, I don't know, it works differently for different people. Like, some people like to binge write, like they like to come up with all the ideas and bam bam bam, they like, I know that some famous authors like to do that. Like, they go on typing until like they finish everything, like they come up with the plot outline, and then they go on and write the whole thing in like a few months. It depends on the person again, but I think like a lot, it's better to have a writing habit. Like, this is my recommendation. So like, how, like, a goal, like, I'm going to write 500 words every day, or I'm going to write 200 words every day. So yeah, that's some tips I can give.
Great, Duli. So I'm curious, how do you come up with the names for your books? Now, when I was researching, I was wondering about it. You named My Musings to Jack Rivers to Laugh Out Lyrics to Midwood Magic. Is it difficult? How do you come up with the name for a fiction, for a book? I mean, this is the first thing that the people are going to see, right?
Yeah.
Does it come naturally? How do you come up with it?
It's for me, like, I usually name the story after I write the story. Like, that's what I do. Like, normally,
Right.
I kind of don't have, like, I have like a rough title. So first, I thought Midwood Chronicles was better, but then I was like, Chronicles Narnia. Then I was like ripped off from Narnia, kind of like. So don't put Chronicles, put Magic instead. So yeah, like that. I keep working on the title. So titles are a bit difficult, but like, I just keep working on the title, and when I have a good one, I just go with that.
Great, wonderful, Duli. So, I wanted to ask you as an author, so what advice do you have to anyone who wants to pursue writing as a career?
I think go for it because it's worth it. Like, it doesn't cost anything for you to write anything, right? I mean, you can, like, you don't need to, like, don't be overwhelmed. Like, start small, like, write like if you don't want to write a whole poem at once or like a whole work of fiction, you can first, for instance, start with flash fiction, like 200 words, like a story that's 200 words. Or then you can move to short stories, then you can move to longer stories. Now novellas, like novellas are like 30,000 words, I think. So it's short stories like 1,000, 3,000 word, like that, like that's so uh, you can you can start slow, like you don't, I mean, it's worth it, like think about it, like I mean, you can't, I'm not telling you to go and become the next JK Rowling, because you are, you be the next big you. So like if there were more authors, I mean, imagine like if JK Rowling could, like she must have lifted her economy so much for her country. So like, I mean, we'll be doing a service as well, we'll be helping people mentally, financially, and in so many ways. It's a way that we can contribute to society. So like take 5 minutes that you waste every day. Like a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time, but that's like kind of, in my opinion, a lame excuse, because everyone has time. That's, it's a matter of priority. So like prioritize it and go for it. You should really go for it. I think like it's worth it.
Indeed, I love the answer, Duli. I mean, reading a story, it doesn't have to be a story. Any book can be a way of escape. And if you're someone behind that, I think anybody can be really proud of themselves. So,
Yes, and you can inspire a lot of people, and you can be inspired by your own words too. So yeah.
that's great. So, Duli, I've heard this saying. Would you agree with this? So, as an author, to not wait to write the book, but instead to write a book. So that way, do you think that would help for all the upcoming authors, to anyone, everyone who is watching right now, to anyone who wants to pursue writing, to write a
Yes.
book?
Yes, even if you think it's a crappy book, for someone else it will be like a good book, like and maybe your a book will be like a book, a book, a book, and then it'll be the book someday. Like you keep writing, and then you like someday hit, like for some people it's like the first book becomes the book, like that's like very rare, but that can happen to you. So like I'm not telling it can't, but then maybe like your a book will be the stepping stones towards your the book. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dili. So, I wanted to ask you now, as an author, do you write every day? Is there a routine?
Yes, I write every day. Like, because on Wattpad, like, there's this ranking system, right? So, like, if you don't write, your rankings go down. So, like, the rankings kind of motivate me to write every day. So, like, I at least write 200 words every day. So, like, I mean, I know that some popular authors like write for like 6 hours. I don't write that much. Oh my gosh, I don't write that much. But I write like at least 200 words every day, or like a poem
Wonderful.
even. Like, if I can't. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, I wanted to ask now, is there anyone that you would like to mention, maybe a special thank you, or maybe to anyone who is watching us live on Facebook, to anyone that you would like to give a shout out to, someone who has helped you in this journey of becoming an author, maybe anyone that has supported you in this journey, any special mentions?
Yeah, a lot actually. I mean, first and foremost, my parents, like my mother and father, especially my mother, because like she has always believed in, like, even when I don't believe in me, she's like, "You are amazing." She's always there for me. And then I would like to thank Professor Craig and Professor Lakmina. So those people are amazing. Like, I mean, they back me up so much. And then I would like to thank Kevin, my friend. He was my editor. He edited my work meticulously. Like, he did a lot to help me. And so many of my friends and relatives, that they all helped. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Duli. So, before we sign off today, is there anything else that you would like to say to our readers?
Well, reading is a wonderful habit. Like, don't give up. Like, don't feel like you have to read these big, massive books if you don't have to. Like, you can read things like Who Moved My Cheese, or like something small, even like if you don't like to read those big, huge tomes, like read something small, even read a poem, even like, it enriches you as a human, and you can help someone with what you read, and you can enrich your lives. And I think don't give up reading, make it a habit. Like, try to have a goal, and like, don't please don't say I don't have time, because I really don't, like, especially with the lockdown, people are just making excuses saying that they don't have time. They waste so much time. So yeah, don't give up reading. Like, please, like, keep reading and keep enriching your life and the lives of those around you.
Wonderful, Duli. Thank you so much. So before we are going to sign off today, I would like to mention a special thank you to our wonderful author who is joining with us today, Duli Paranavithana. Thank you for all the insights and the inspiration that you've shared in this short period of time. It was wonderful to listen to you. I, as the moderator, gained a lot, and I'm sure the audience did too. So, in the same sense, I would just like to say thank you. It is the honor and privilege of Pick a Book to have you with us today for this session. So, just a big thank you going out to you for taking your time to join with us.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I mean, I'm really happy that I got this opportunity, and I would like to say, like, before I go off, I'd like to say to those who are aspiring to be a writer, please be a writer. I mean, if you don't want to do it full time, don't do it full time. Like, do it part time, even, like, it's and the readers, please keep reading, because we need more authors and readers. We need more good people who understand each other, and, like, people to bond together. Like, reading brings everyone together from, like, different communities. And so keep reading and writing. I mean, don't give up, whatever you do. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
It was our pleasure, Duli. So before signing off the session, I would like to give everyone a quick reminder to the Pick a Book platform. Pick a Book is a global movement taken to encourage and inculcate the habit of reading among the community. So it helps each and every one of us become the best versions of ourselves possible through the wonders of literature. And that's a point discussed today as well. So it was my pleasure to host this session today. We had a wonderful guest author, Ms. Duli Paranavithana, and my name is Adri Dhanandiri, signing off from today's session of the Author Saga webinar series.